following the story of Ziyah Harris, then you know that Ziyah was just 13 years old at the time of her disappearance from Detroit, Michigan on January the 9th, 2024. Her grandmother, Annette Harris, reported her missing to Detroit Public Schools on January the 10th, 2024. Sadly, Ziyah nor her body has been found. Now, today I want to get into the hotel footage. There's been a big debate whether or not the hotel had footage, and I see that there is still some belief that there was footage or there was not footage. So I want to play the testimony where the detective is questioned about the hotel video footage. So please pay attention to what the detective answers when she is questioned about whether or not there is hotel video footage. Then I also want to get into the closing argument. The attorneys close out their arguments with saying the significance of the hotel, 7 Mile. So I think that that's important as well. Additionally, there's been some discussion about whether or not Ziyah Harris clothing items, the evidence that was collected in the case, if it were strategically placed and who actually found it, right? So I do want to get into that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and play the Detective Lisa Johnson statement regarding the hotel.
Lisa Johnson.
How are you employed?
Detroit Police Department.
And how long have you been employed by Detroit Police Department?
26 years.
And are you assigned to a specific unit or division?
Right now, homicide cold case.
Detective Johnson, can you pull that microphone down so that everyone can hear? Thank you.
And were you working back in February of 2024 in the homicide cold case?
Yes.
And did you get the chance to assist in the investigation of, at that time, missing Ziyah Harris?
I did.
Okay. And I want to take you to the location of 20,000 Harbor. You're assisting in the investigation, take you to that location?
Yes.
And what is that location?
Park Crest Hotel.
Okay. And do you recall when about you went there?
Sometime in February.
Okay, and it's in 2004?
Yeah.
2024?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you went there, what is it that you did?
We spoke to the clerk that was on duty at the time, and we requested the ledger for January.
And did you receive anything from the ledger from January?
Yes, we did.
Okay, and what is it that you received?
There was a sign-in sheet filled out by Mr. Butts.
Okay. And did you take a copy of that sign-in sheet?
Yes.
Okay. And Your Honor, may I approach People's Proposed Exhibit 19?
Yes.
Thank you. Handing you what's marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 19. Can you tell me, do you recognize what it is I just handed you?
Yes.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of the receipt that you received from the Park Crest Inn as it relates to Mr. Butts?
Yes, it is.
And I move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 19. No objection.
Okay, to be admitted as People's 19.
Thank you, Judge. And looking at that receipt, who is it that checked out a room?
Jarvis R. Butts.
And is there a address associated with that?
Yes, there is.
And without reading the numbers of the address, what street is that on?
Wilshire Drive.
And is there a phone number associated with that person?
Yes, it is.
And what's that phone number?
313-585-8719.
Okay. And what is the day that this hotel room was checked out?
January 9th, 2024.
Okay. And is there a room number that was checked out?
Yes, room 69.
Okay. And is there a time that it was checked out?
Checked out at 12:30 p.m.
And did you do anything with this receipt once you received it?
Yes, we got the receipt and we forwarded it to Sergeant Jones.
And was this physical receipt itself placed on evidence?
Yes.
Nothing further, Judge.
Okay, cross.
Thank you.
Detective Johnson, you said that when you went to the Park Crest Motel, you spoke with the clerk.
Yes.
Was that clerk the clerk that was there themselves on the night?
I don't believe so. We spoke with the clerk who forwarded us to the manager. We waited on the manager to come in. He brought the receipt out.
Did either the clerk or the manager that you spoke with indicated that they had any recollection of seeing Mr. Butts on the night?
No.
Okay. Did you spoke with anybody at the Park Crest Motel who did seem to indicate that they had familiarity with Mr. Butts?
Not for that particular night. A few people said they may have seen him prior, but not for sure.
Did you get the impression that he's kind of a frequent flyer there?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay. Did you notice when you were there if there were any cameras in the parking lot or around the door?
Yes, there's cameras.
There's cameras. Where are they located?
I can't be specific right now. I know there is cameras in the lobby and there are some outside on the perimeter.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Any redirect?
Nothing further, Judge.
Okay, we're all set. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so you've just heard the testimony of Detective Lisa Johnson, and she testified about whether or not there were cameras at this hotel, the Park Crest Hotel, where Jarvis Butts has been believed to have taken Ziyah Harris, right? Now, what was interesting to me is that when the defense came up, they posed the question if the hotel had cameras. She said, yes, the hotel has cameras in the lobby and outside. Keep in mind that those cameras were not played. If there was footage, that was not played. So what's you guys' belief? Do you think that they do have footage from the hotel and they're waiting until the trial comes to play the footage? Because the defense is the only one who raised the question about the camera. Now, there was testimony from Sergeant Shannon Jones. That video is on my page from yesterday. I uploaded it, where she said because the case was already 30 days out, that they had lost video footage, right? That video footage was overwritten. So do you believe that that's the case here and that's the reason why they didn't play it? Or do you think that they are saving it for the trial? Now, additionally, you heard her say that she spoke to the clerk that was on duty at the time when she went in to request the lodger from the hotel, which was the sign-in sheet. According to her, the sign-in sheet places Jarvis Butts at the hotel, right? But at least right now, there's no footage. So what are you guys' thoughts? She took a copy of that. Obviously, they had it in the courtroom. His defense attempted to discredit the belief that Ziyah was with him by saying, hey, he's a frequent flyer. He goes to that hotel. He brings other women. So even if he was there, it doesn't necessarily mean that Ziyah was with him. So please tell me, what are you guys' thoughts about that? Now I want to get into the panel discussion. Roxy, who is the distant cousin of Ziyah Harris, she's been an advocate for Ziyah. She's been very vocal. There's some videos on my page. If you're not familiar with her, I want to get into, like I said, she joined this panel. The question came up. Now, keep in mind, this panel was, this person was very passionate about Ziyah and what happened. And she said, I'm very passionate about what happened to Ziyah because a lot of people failed her, right? So it was a heated discussion, but let's go ahead and play that.
She was on the live trolling the dude that was out there on the ground searching.
I don't know what she put on him, but that's what she said.
Yeah,
she was Teresa is, but that's what it said.
Yeah, Tammy
Okay.
or something.
No, Tammy said that she put something. No, he messaged Tammy and told Tammy that she put something, a hex or whatever it was that he said on him. That's
Look
what
at
she
the
said.
halftime performance.
I don't got no spiritual powers.
That's Travis Scott.
Yeah, that's Travis Scott on this halftime.
Oh,
We watching the same thing.
you
Yeah,
was
I'm
watching
watching
the same thing I'm watching.
it too. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know what that video.
I wasn't trolling anybody. What I did not appreciate about him was how he kept using the Ziyah name, and then he made that post saying that Ziyah was over there in the basement and she wasn't. That's what I didn't appreciate. Ain't nobody trolling or clouting nothing. This is real life. This is somebody's family. This is something that somebody is going through. So to sit up there and
family.
to make a mockery of this whole situation
somebody's
and go
family.
around and spread lies about somebody, and there's people out here really looking for her. That's not okay. So for a random ass stranger to be sitting up here coming around talking about my cousin is in the goddamn basement and I'm genuinely out here looking for her. Do you know how much of a emotional fucking roller coaster that you can put somebody up on when every little hope that you hear for somebody that you may be this close to finding her, and then when you get over there to look for yourself, it's not that, and you left empty-handed time and time again? That's not okay to do. You don't mess with nobody's family like that.
Maybe your family is messing with your own family.
Texas, please. I mean, Texas. It's her. If it wasn't for her family, they wouldn't be having to do this though. Texas is right. If it wasn't for her family, if it wasn't for them fucked up individuals, we wouldn't be going through this, and that baby would been okay.
Okay, but so even if that was the case, he had over 50-something people out there searching for your niece. They was all in bandos. They was going all in woods. He was the one who found the shoe and the clothes. And people in the chat,
he's not the one that found the shoe and the clothes. I did.
People in the chat comment, Roxy, I got a video.
There we have it.
Obviously, you didn't see the original video with me and Mark.
Roxy, I got the
Because when
video.
I found them, I called the police, and the police never came over there to get the shoes.
But the shoes and the
Because they
she
said
had
that
on.
was
So
a description of the shoes that they were looking for. So that's why they didn't come out there. Mosquito Bite, Rapper Boy, whatever you want to call him, didn't come out there until the day after we were already searching over there with the police.
Okay, so if he didn't come until the day after, so y'all just left the shoe and the stuff right there. It just was left there.
Yeah.
Roxy, that's cap. Anna, I sent you the video.
If you know, can you estimate about how many search warrants did you execute?
Probably over 20. Throughout the entire, it has to be over 20.
And what kind of searches were done in this case in general?
So we searched, as far as like land searches,
All kinds.
all kinds. Well, we searched Ypsilanti as we did our workup, and we're looking at different locations that Mr. Butts had been to. We identified an area out in Clinton Township that he had gone out to back and forth before, and that was an area that Shannon Harris, his child's mother, had lived at. So this was kind of like a route out there, and we located, there was like a big retention pond out there. So that was another place that we had dive teams come out. We had the helicopter, the cadaver dogs, and we searched out in Clinton Township. As we start breaking down the phone, mapping a little bit more on Mr. Butt's phone, it kind of led us to 7 Mile and Berg.
And what's out in 7 Mile and Berg?
So 7 Mile and Berg, there is a vacant parking lot on the southwest corner. It used to be a golf course. So the entire south side of 7 Mile, from Berg and then heading back east, used to be a golf course, which is now shut down. And then on the other side of Berg, there's a parking lot where it has like a vacant building, which used to be the clubhouse for the golf club. And then right behind that parking lot is the Rouge River.
And when's the first time that you get out to 7 Mile and Berg?
We went out once. It was probably maybe a couple weeks later that we went out there. We went out there once, and I remember it had snowed. So when we went out there, it wasn't as easy to search. We're kind of looking if somebody was just placed out there or if something was easily identifiable, but because of the snow, we knew that we were going to have to come back again once that melted because it'd be easier to see underneath.
Okay. And so do you go out there again?
Yeah, we've been out there multiple times. I've probably been out there 7, 8 times, all with various dive teams. We searched the complete river from 8 Mile all the way down past 96 on foot with cadaver dogs, in boats, in the water. There's several log jams. We had state police actually had their helicopter fly the entire route so we could GPS all the log jams. We had to coordinate with specialized teams to come in to help cut these log jams apart, which go throughout the river. And then throughout the season, obviously we had some rain, so the water goes up and down, which now brings the debris onto the land, so you have to actually search the land a couple 100 feet. And in some places that the water has pulled debris. We searched the homes, as I said, searched the vehicles.
All right. So when you're out there at 7 Mile and Berg, do you have an idea of what you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the idea of what you're looking for?
So initially when we were out there, again, we had the clothing description. We had the picture of her that she had sent that night or that day that she went missing on the 9th. So we were looking for the black hoodie. We were looking for, again, initially we were told blue and white gym shoes.
Now, is there a time where that changes?
Yes.
Okay. And what is it that makes that change?
So as we go out to areas and search, when we leave, a lot of times large community groups may go out there, right? And they saw that we were at 7 Berg, and I know people come out there to help. There was a group that had been out there and they were recording, and they saw a pair of Nike shoes, which were the red and black. We were alerted of those on our initial search. It's documented in our river search report. But because we weren't focused on the red and black and we were looking for blue and white Nike shoes, we left them there, but we did GPS the coordinates.
Stop you right there. That would have been Border Patrol Agent Wyatt Barnes.
Yes.
Okay, you heard his testimony.
Yes.
All right. So continue.
Yeah. So on our initial search, we knew they were out there. The pink hoodie was identified, but we didn't collect them because, again, we didn't have anything about a pink hoodie or a pink onesie, and the shoes weren't matching. And there's a lot of clothing out there. There's a lot of shoes out there. There's people's clothes. There's all type of debris. So I can't collect every single piece of clothing and article that we find. Later, I get the information that as the search team is out there, they had called 911 because they saw these shoes. And they posted a picture of these shoes somewhere or sent it to Ziyah's brother. Ziyah's brother then reached out to me and he sent me a picture of Ziyah wearing the black and white Nike shoes.
Okay.
Once I saw she had the exact same shoes on that are depicted, that were described out there, I knew immediately where to go. I gathered a couple members of my team and we immediately went back out to where the shoes were GPS located and recovered the shoes. As we were there, that's when we found the black hoodie and then the pink jumpsuit that had been laid out by Agent Wyatt.
Okay. Now, as it relates to those red and black Nike shoes, you had a photo that they were associated with Ziyah in some way. Did you ever end up asking Annette to see if those shoes were still in Ziyah's possessions?
Yes.
Okay. And did you ever end up recovering those pairs from Annette?
No.
So, after you recover the pink jumpsuit, the black hoodie, the shoes, what do you do with them?
Those are all
issue. And so to say that somehow
Mr. Butts would have known that she would have been on that street at that specific time and that they would have been there at that specific time is quite a leap, considering they didn't know where they were going to be when, because they were doing all this driving around back and forth to various stores. Witnesses put Ziyah at Mr. Butts' auto shop later that afternoon, and then in Ypsilanti with Mr. Butts and Cordell Wright, and Mr. Wright puts her back at the shop later that evening. But then we hear from Sergeant O'Rourke, who did all the cell phone mapping, that at 9 p.m., Mr. Butts was actually at 13662 Wilshire, which is his home, where Angel Leonard lives and where they have kids. So did Ziyah go back with him to that house? And then at 9:30 is when he checks in to the Park Crest Motel. Now, we don't know who was with him there, but there is no evidence that Ziyah was ever there. They searched it, they took DNA, they took clippings of various things, they swabbed the shower drain, and there's no evidence that she was ever in that room. We did hear testimony that the Park Crest is a known place where Mr. Butts frequents and takes various lady friends for a rendezvous. It's much more possible and plausible that he took one of his lady friends there, than somebody who he was going to kill, right? He's going to a place where they know him. He's a frequent flyer there. And is he going to take somebody there where he would later, before he was going to kill them? That makes no sense. That is not logical. We heard then that after Mr. Butts left the Park Crest Motel, he went to 4 Alexandrine, which is Midtown, so kind of across town. And that's where his other girlfriend, Najeen Rushing, lives. So did he take Ziyah with him there to see Miss Rushing? And he stays there for a while, I think, according to Sergeant O'Rourke's mapping. And then we hear that he is at 7 Mile and Berg on January the 10th at 11:40 p.m. for over an hour. That's almost 24 hours from when he initially, it's beyond 24 hours from when he initially is with Ziyah, or when he's last with Ziyah. And so it's illogical to think that he was driving around with Ziyah, visiting all of his girlfriends, or if he had done something to her previously, that she was in the car with him while he did that. And in fact, they took a cadaver dog around the car and didn't find anything, and they tested the vehicles, all of his vehicles, every car that he drove, for DNA, for any sign that Ziyah had been in there, and they found nothing.
After the 9th, Jarvis Butts on the 9th, we know, borrowed Latricia Johnson's car overnight, which was unusual. He borrowed that and then again borrowed it on the 10th or 11th. We know that Ziyah's glasses were found in that car sometime after the 10th or 11th when Latricia Johnson was at that shop, and Jarvis Butts snatches them out of her hand. From the Park Crest Inn and from January 9th, we go out to 7 Mile and Berg. This is by far the most important location in this case, because we know that the defendant spent from 11:40 p.m. on the 10th to 1:34 a.m., nearly 2 hours in that area, in that wooded area where the Rouge River runs through. And this is from the slideshow of the scene photos that were taken at 7 Mile and Berg. This is the area where it's the people's theory Jarvis Butts did at least one of two things. Either killed Ziyah at 7 Mile and Berg, but at the very least dumped her body in this location. We know this because of the evidence that was found there, specifically the black hoodie, which you see in this photo here, as well as the pink bodysuit and the shoes that we confirmed, or that are hers, based on the picture that the OIC received from her brother. And those items were collected. The black hoodie and pink jumpsuit were tested. And
so you just heard part of the closing argument from both sides, right? The prosecutors are arguing that this is 7 Mile is the most important location. He spent 2 hours out in a wooded area. You heard his defense team argue that even if he was at a hotel, there's no evidence to place him and Ziyah Harris there, and that he was frequently went to this hotel. So they're not contesting, it appears to be that they're not contesting that he was at the hotel, but what they're saying is, show me the evidence that places Ziyah Harris with him at the hotel. Do you guys feel what you've seen up to this point, that you're convinced that if he was at the hotel, that Ziyah was definitely with him? Or are you saying, I need video evidence? I agree. Whose side right now do you feel has the better argument? I am certainly hoping that if there is hotel footage, that they just didn't want to put all their cards out on the table at the preliminary hearing, and that they are saving it for the trial. Now, I want to close this out with just the prosecutor arguing why, the last communication that Ziyah had was with Jarvis Butts, right? So I want to close it out from there, but would appreciate you guys' comments. How do you feel about the case right now? Did you initially believe that there was some hotel footage? Do you believe that there is hotel footage? Do you believe that he was there at the hotel with Ziyah, that he took someone else? How are you guys feeling? Personally, I cannot wait until there is justice brought forth for Ziyah. As always, I appreciate everyone's, the discussion that we have. And please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.
From the shop, we proceed out to the Park Crest Inn, where Jarvis Butts checked into a hotel at 9:30 p.m. and Sergeant O'Rourke's testimony corroborates this, placing his phone in the area of that 20,000 Harper address at around midnight till early in the next morning on the 10th, using the data that you see on the screen in those times. Recapping January 9th, this is the last time that we have any sort of communication from Ziyah. There was, if you look at those messages that Sergeant Jones went through and read, just between Ziyah and Jarvis, there was consistent and constant communication up until January 9th. There's also no messages from Jarvis after Ziyah goes missing on the 9th, looking for her, seeing where she is, trying to find her, trying to help, as anyone should do at that time, her family locate her. There's no messages to her phone, to that Text Now account from Jarvis Butts' phone. Her legal guardian and grandmother, Annette Harris, has not seen any social media posts. The OIC of the case, Sergeant Jones, has not seen anything for a total of 1 year now. The Lieutenant George Harris, who was involved in the investigation in the first month, didn't see anything that he saw from social media or Text Now after the 9th. Jarvis Butts on the 9th, we